go straight on to Dr. Veronika Girininkaitė. Not yet doctor, okay, sorry, I'm so sorry. Yes, I should have read that, yes. Who works in the manuscript department of Vilnius University Library. And the project that she's going to talk to us about is to do with the correspondence of university professors in Vilnius, University. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and honor for me to talk today. I represent the Library of Vilnius University, which is the special member of Consortium of European Research Libraries. I'll tell you about the plan we are now working on. It is in a process of preparation, and it is related to a cost action called Reassembling the Republic of Letters. So what we are working on in Vilnius is to try to create a database of letters received by a Vilnius University rector in the last 2 decades of the 18th century. At present, we work with somewhat more than 2,000 letters. So I had the PowerPoint, but I don't know where it is. Somewhere in here. Okay. So, Martin Poczobut-Odlenicki was professor of astronomy. He lived 1728, 1810. So, this is our university. You see on the top of the building, there was an astronomical observatory built on the building in the middle of 18th century. So, Odlenicki was the rector of the university and also chief of the observatory. And the letters we are working with, they were written between the years 1769 to 1796, mainly in Polish and French, and some of them in English or Latin. Well, if everything goes as we plan, we might later expand the project and add more letters of our library and maybe some letters from other libraries also. So what is the value of the correspondence? I will start with a brief look at the history of Vilnius University. Founded in 1579, it was in fact transformed from an already existing Jesuit college. The university belonged to Jesuits for about 200 years until the year 1773, when this order was dissolved in the country. That means that for a long time, theology, philosophy, and rhetorics were the most important subjects. With the coming of enlightenment and secularization of university, more attention was drawn towards the exact sciences. The professor Martin Poczobut-Odlenicki was the rector of the university at that point when the order was dissolved, and there was a real threat that the Vilnius University will be also closed. It was him who insisted and defended the university, and he also managed to create a modern scientific institution with a strong international ties and new professors attending this university and teaching here. And he was also appointed as chief of the education process in the country, as Vilnius University was at the time called the principal school, the main school of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. So the astronomical observatory was built in the middle of 18th century. Poczobut helped to rebuild it and buy the new equipment, the best possible British optical instruments, some of them made by Peter Dolland and Jesse Ramsden. When the observatory was equipped, Professor Poczobut and his colleagues started constant and thorough astronomical observations. The results of these observations were published in the international reviews, for example, in Ephemerides prepared by Maximilian Hell in Vienna or in Astronomisches Jahrbuch by Johann Elert Bode in Berlin. The data was also sent to Greenwich Observatory and to Paris and used there by astronomers such as, for example, Joseph Jérôme de Lalande. All of this work on reorganizing the university, buying some new instruments from abroad. So I show you the map of that here, showing that from Vilnius to London, to Paris, to Padua and Vienna, Berlin, in the middle, there was a very tight network that is shown, demonstrated now in the letters we have. So at present, letters are not well described. So they are stored in such bundles, which may contain letters from different people, different years, and different cities. A bundle of approximately 100 units would get a single short description in the electronic catalogue of our library. Well, nevertheless, the letters are already popular and are actively researched because they contain a large amount of historically and culturally valuable data. What is done now? I read the letters. I create the individual entries for each of them in our electronic catalogue. The digital images of every letter, together with the descriptions and comments and some biographical data about the people mentioned in the letters, will eventually be put online and help the researchers. The information will be presented in Lithuanian and in English languages. The result of our work could be useful for various researchers, linguists, historians of culture, and so on. It may be also beneficial for the researchers of book culture and book history. In some of these letters, we can find some direct information about the books donated, bought, the books prepared to be published, and so on. On the other hand, Martin Poczobut for some time was the head of Vilnius University Publishing House. This means that he sometimes also received letters from various authors who would ask to be published in Vilnius. It is also important that during this project, we will create the online catalog or database of handwriting. And this can be useful, for example, if we have a book with inscriptions by the owner and we are not quite sure who he was. It is very good and useful to be able to compare with the handwritings put online. It should also be mentioned that names of many of Poczobut's correspondents, as well as the professor himself, are not mentioned in the CERL thesaurus at present. And we hope that their work on Martin Poczobut correspondence and maybe later the correspondence of Vilnius University professors in early modern times will eventually help to enrich the thesaurus with valuable information and new names. Thank you for your attention.